Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a big question. Should you get the Nintendo Switch OLED, stick with a standard Switch, or hold out for the upcoming Switch 2? With so many leaks and rumors about Nintendo's next console, we've got all the latest details. We're breaking down display differences, performance, battery life, and of course, what's coming with the Switch 2. If you already own a Switch or are thinking of getting one, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one is right for you. Like what you're seeing? Tap that like button, subscribe, and be part of our awesome community. Your support helps us keep creating great content. And before we dive in, if you love all things Nintendo, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future updates. The original Nintendo Switch, launched in 2017, is a hybrid console that lets you play at home or on the go, and that's what made it such a huge hit. It comes with a 6.2-inch LCD screen, and in 2021, Nintendo introduced the Switch OLED. And let me tell you, the difference in picture quality is massive. The Switch OLED upgrades the screen to a 7-inch OLED display, and this makes everything sharper, more colorful, and vibrant. The blacks are deeper, and colors pop in a way that makes handheld gaming feel premium. If you spend a lot of time gaming in handheld mode, this is a game changer. So, if you love playing on the go, the OLED is worth considering. But what about performance? Well, the standard Switch and the OLED are identical. Both have the NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip, meaning games run the same on both consoles. No FPS boosts, no extra power. But sound quality on the OLED is noticeably better. Upgraded stereo speakers make games more immersive, which is great for handheld gaming. Battery life. It's about the same on both models, 4.5 to 9 hours, depending on the game. But the OLED model feels a little more efficient even with the bigger screen. So if you're looking for more power, the Switch OLED won't give you that. The real upgrade is the screen, speakers, and slightly better battery life. Now, before you rush to buy any Switch, let's talk about a huge issue Nintendo still hasn't fully fixed: Joy-Con drift. If you haven't experienced it yet, Joy-Con drift happens when the controller starts moving on its own even when you're not touching it. Super frustrating, especially in games that need precise movement, like Super Smash Bros. Or Mario Kart. Sadly, both the Switch and Switch OLED suffer from this problem, and Nintendo hasn't officially addressed it in hardware updates. If you get Joy-Con drift, you may need to send them in for repairs or buy new ones. But the biggest question right now? Will the Switch 2 finally fix Joy-Con drift once and for all? If you're thinking of skipping the OLED and waiting for the Switch 2, you're not alone. The rumors and leaks surrounding the Switch 2 are getting more exciting by the day. Here's what we know so far. The screen is rumored to be 7.9 inches, even bigger than the OLED. It's expected to have a custom NVIDIA processor for faster performance and better graphics. It may come with 8 GB of RAM and 64 GB of storage, making it more powerful than ever. It might even support 4K resolution when docked. That could make games look next-gen. And here's the big one: new Joy-Cons. Some leaks suggest they'll attach magnetically instead of sliding on rails. If true, this could finally fix Joy-Con drift. And the best part? The Switch 2 is expected to be backward compatible, so your existing Switch games should work on it. Plus, there's talk of a new Mario Kart game launching with the Switch 2. That alone is exciting. So, should you wait for the Switch 2? Well, if you want the best possible handheld experience right now, the Switch OLED is a fantastic upgrade. The screen is amazing, the sound is better, and it feels premium. But if you want next level of performance and are okay with waiting, the Switch 2 is shaping up to be a major upgrade. With 4K graphics, more power, and possible Joy-Con improvements, it could be a huge step forward. At the end of the day, it comes down to this. If you want to Switch now, go for the OLED. If you want the most powerful Nintendo experience, hold out for the Switch 2. So, let's wrap it up. If you game on the go a lot, the Switch OLED is worth it for the better screen and sound. If you mostly play docked, the standard Switch still holds up and saves you money. If you can wait for a bigger upgrade, the Switch 2 is looking like a major step forward. Nintendo hasn't officially revealed the Switch 2 yet, but rumors point to a late 2024 or early 2025 launch. So if you're excited about the Switch 2, Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon because we'll keep you updated on every leak, trailer, and announcement. Let me know in the comments. Are you going for the Switch OLED, sticking with the standard Switch, or waiting for the Switch 2? And if this video helped you out, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more Nintendo news. But here's the thing, what about third-party games? One of the biggest concerns with the current Nintendo Switch is how well it runs third-party titles. While first-party Nintendo games like Mario, Zelda, and Pokémon are optimized perfectly for the system, third-party titles like The Witcher 3, Doom Eternal, and Hogwarts Legacy have struggled to perform. Some of them run decently with lower resolutions and frame rates, but others rely on cloud streaming, which isn't ideal for everyone. Now, with the Switch 2, things could change in a big way. If the leaks are true and the new console includes a stronger NVIDIA chipset, more RAM, and better internal storage, we could see far better third-party support. This could mean higher frame rates, better textures, and smoother gameplay for major AAA games. Imagine playing something like Elden Ring or Grand Theft Auto 6 on a Switch 2 without compromises. That would be a massive step forward for Nintendo in competing with PlayStation and Xbox, especially when it comes to performance-heavy games. Now, here's an interesting question. Will the Switch 2 launch with an OLED screen like the latest model, or will it start with a basic LCD version and later upgrade? Nintendo has a history of releasing improved versions of their consoles over time. Just look at the 3DS lineup. It wouldn't be surprising if the first version of the Switch 2 has an LCD screen, and an OLED version arrives a year or two later. If that happens, some players might wait even longer to get the OLED model. The standard Switch OLED was such a big upgrade visually, so Nintendo may try to use the same strategy again to keep selling new hardware over time. Either way, if you care a lot about screen quality, that's something to keep in mind. Alright, let's talk about price. The Nintendo Switch OLED currently costs $349, while the standard Switch is around $299. But how much will the Switch 2 cost? Leaks suggest the Switch 2 could land anywhere between $399 and $499, depending on how powerful the hardware is. Some reports suggest a $449 price tag, but it's unclear if that's for a base model or a premium version. Now, would that price make sense? Let's compare it to competitors. The PlayStation 5 Digital Edition costs $399. The Xbox Series X costs $499. The Steam Deck starts at $399. For Nintendo to stay competitive, a price around $400 to $450 seems likely. Anything higher than that, and it risks pushing casual gamers away. That being said, Nintendo is known for keeping costs lower than PlayStation and Xbox, so if they find a way to keep it under $400, that would be a game changer. One of the biggest questions about the Switch 2 is whether it will support old Switch games. Right now, Nintendo has hinted that they want to keep backward compatibility in place. This would mean you could play your current library of Switch games on the new system without having to repurchase them. But there's one possible catch. How will physical cartridges work? If Nintendo decides to change the game card slot on the Switch 2, older physical Switch games might not work unless they provide some kind of adapter. That's something to watch out for when Nintendo makes the official announcement. However, digital games are almost certainly going to be supported. With most modern consoles pushing digital purchases, Nintendo would likely let players bring over their digital Switch games to the new system. That would be great news for anyone who has built up a huge collection on the Nintendo eShop. Now, let's talk about the dock. One of the Switch's best features is its ability to switch seamlessly from handheld mode to docked mode. That's what makes it a hybrid console and sets it apart from PlayStation and Xbox. So, will the Switch 2 keep the same docking system? Leaks suggest yes, but with some improvements. First, the dock might support 4K resolution, which means when you plug the Switch 2 into your TV, it could output games at 4K instead of 1080p like the current Switch. Second, faster data transfer speeds. The current dock is a bit slow, especially when loading games or updating software. A new dock with better connectivity would make a big difference. And third, wireless display casting. Some rumors suggest the Switch 2 may allow you to connect to a TV wirelessly without needing the dock at all. That would be a huge upgrade for people who want to game on the big screen without messing with cables. Now, let's talk about the most important thing, the games. What new games could launch alongside the Switch 2? Here are some of the strongest possibilities based on leaks and industry trends. Mario Kart 9, the first brand new Mario Kart game since 2014. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Deluxe, a next-gen enhanced version of the latest Zelda. New 3D Mario game. Think Super Mario Odyssey 2 or something brand new. Metroid Prime 4. This game has been in development for years, and it could be a perfect fit for the Switch 2 launch. Pokémon Legends sequel, a follow-up to Pokémon Legends Arceus in an open-world format. And of course, we'll probably see remasters of older Nintendo games, especially ones that would benefit from the improved graphics of the Switch 2. So, to wrap it all up, is the Switch 2 worth waiting for? If you already have a Switch and want something more powerful, waiting for the Switch 2 makes sense. The improved graphics, stronger hardware, and potential 4K support could be a big jump forward. But if you just want the best possible handheld experience right now, the Switch OLED is still a great buy, especially if the Switch 2 ends up costing significantly more. Ultimately, it depends on what you want out of a console. And that's where I want to hear